All right. Hey, Chuck. Hi, Precious. How are you? I was just thinking about you today, Precious. I hope that you to go ahead and jump right into it. So, I am Ber-Henda Williams. I'm a visionary empath coach. Hey, Raquel. And I work with visionary empaths. And so, you may be asking yourself, for those of you who are new to this live, what is an empath? Well, an empath has the ability to sense and feel the thoughts, feelings of and emotions of another as if they were experiencing it firsthand for themselves inside their being, inside their bodies. So, how do you know if you're an empath? Well, one of the telltale signs that you're an empath is that you're easily overwhelmed by crowds. For our lovely physical empaths, you can walk to a room and tell who has a really strong emotion, whether it be anger, sadness, or grief. Also, joy. So it doesn't always have to be necessarily a dark emotion, but you can feel the emotions of others. You have precognition, meaning that you have a sense of something getting ready to happen. You have very, very, very vivid dreams that may register as deja vu in your waking hours. You also may have premonitions in your dreams. You may have the uncanny ability of reaching out to someone just as they're thinking about you, or vice versa. And you may get messages that you're to give to people. You also maybe have a really tight connection to those family members who may have made their transition. You can feel their spirits around you. You have that very true nature. So you really like to earth, you like to walk barefoot, and you also not just like water, also have a heightened sensitivity to noise, an uncanny sense of smell as well. Hey, J Love. So in many cases, the empire, they so sensitive, and you know what sets them apart from a highly sensitive person. Well, the refractor neurons that register empathy in the empath is a lot more sensitive. So, for example, if you see someone on television, so they really don't like to see violence or even really have the ability to stomach the news, if you see someone getting shot or maimed or hurt, kind of cringe when you see it, because you oftentimes will feel it too, even though it may be simply television reenactment or drama. And you also find yourself really drawn to many different types of people, culture. You find yourself really, really enjoying different types of music, so you're not really any one thing. The empath can also pass as a social chameleon. Yeah, a social chameleon, meaning that you vacillate because you have so many interests, like everything interests you. Because again, your thirst is connection. You really, 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 really like to connect with people. So as much as you love people, people can also be daunting because the big crowds, you're like, it's too many people. I don't want to be around so many people, but then yet you love people. Like you just really want to help. So if you see a call go out where there's a need for support or sponsorship, your heart really, really, really goes out. And then there's certain people that you have a heightened sensitivity for, and the empath will always be the advocate for the underdog. If you see anyone getting bullied, if you see anyone being mistreated, go hard for them. Even more so than yourself, because the empath can tend to be self-sacrificing, but when you see an injustice in the world, that's why empaths make really great advocates, because you feel it. Once you feel, that makes you responsible, and that's why most people don't like to feel, right? Because once you feel it and you've connected with it, you can't unsee it, you can't unknow it, and you can't unfeel it. Yeah, so about that, empaths feel first. So the world tends to think first. They come from an intellectual space. Empath feels first, and ooh, that doesn't feel right. Something must be done. So the empath operates off of emotion or feeling, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but you do kind of have to pause for just a second. That's right, J Love. That's right, Raquel. So this is typically you, because J Love is the love gangster. She is known out here. This makes you sort of make you very emotionally susceptible. So before I bring our guest on to talk about her media company down, the amazing media company, and I think she's here. She'll tell us more about that and how we can get connected with her The empath is also a lover or participator of the arts. Yes, empaths not just love music, they need music. Yep, because your emotions can definitely run you. So the empath not only likes music, they need music. Music kind of helps quell all of that angst and that energy, emotions like grief or sadness. Music brings you back to something that you often participate in, whether you dance to music, write by music. Poetry is another space. Yeah, it really, really does. So you don't just like music, like you need music, like you are music. So definitely an example of a musical empath would be Prince, um, because not only was he a incomparable singer, Prince played several street, and so Prince's one of his quotes is that I don't play music, I am music, and so it's really interesting that when he passed, there were vaults and vaults and vaults and vaults and vaults and vaults of music that had never been released. And Prince was a stickler for making sure that sound quality was there, that musicality was there. In fact, he had an album called Musicology, the study of music. So that is for us. And so on that note, we're going to go ahead and get started. Yes, music does heal you. Music is healing. So actually, Paul Robeson, before he passed away, was doing studies on diseases, and he did find the vibration for cancer, believe it or not, before he many sacred traditions. The healers of the community will gather with drums, with shakerei, with percussive instruments, because the primordial first sound was the drum, which is the heartbeat. So that primordial sound, I'm sorry, of the drum or anything percussive actually helps with healing. And they say that the violin is actually most like the human voice. So there is a correlation between healing and music. And if we find the right vibration, even during labor, there's a certain rhythm, there's certain tribes that actually help the mother give birth with music. I know, isn't that so cool? I tell you, so amazing. So without further ado, Sarah, if you could just wave your hand. So Sarah and I have been connected for several years. I'm a huge fan of her work and just the positivity that she puts out into the world. So we're on. All right, Sarah, are you there? Are you watching, Sarah? This one, okay, there you are. All right. So Sarah, I'm not sure if you see at the bottom, are you on your cell phone? Because if you are on your cell phone, hey Sarah, there should be an icon at the bottom where you can add yourself, because I don't see it. Are you on your computer? Let me know if you're on your computer or on your phone, because it's best if you're on your phone. All right, Donatella, how are you? So, okay, yeah, grab your phone. So while Sarah is grabbing your phone, if you could, yes, octaves and musical frequencies, absolutely. So there has been several studies around frequency, and actually we want to operate in 27 hertz, which is the love vibration. So we want to move any emotion that we have, we want to move it up to love. Hey, love, how are you?
Hi.
So great to have you on.
So great to connect. Thank you
I
so much for having me on.
know. Yeah, no, I'm so excited. I mean, you bring such a
Me
breath of fresh
too.
air and light into the world. So I'm so glad that
Thank
you could join
you.
us this evening. So we'll just jump right into it. So tell us a little bit more about, the offerings that you are here to share with the world, i.e., your media company, and also share with our viewers the type of empath you are.
Yes, so I have recently been working on building a platform called Curious Rabbit Media. This is something that I've been wanting to do for such a long time, and I have kind of been, putting out videos here and there, but overall kind of hiding from it, I think. And now I know that it's time to really show up and step into it.
Mm.
Um, Especially being an empath, I know that because we feel things so deeply and especially feel the injustices of the world so deeply,
Mm.
it's very much our duty to step out against those things and use our voices to speak up. I see so much in the media, as you mentioned before, it's very hard for empaths to watch the news.
Yeah,
I think that's for most people too, even if they're not empaths. The
that's
news is just so disempowering and constantly so negative, and everything that they show is very fear-based. And I feel now we have this amazing tool with the internet, which of course can be a double-edged sword like anything else,
yeah.
but I believe that we can use it in a positive way to empower people. And my main goal is to educate people on what's happening locally and globally, but to do it in a way where they feel empowered after watching a video or reading an article rather than feeling like there's nothing that they can do about what's happening in the world.
Absolutely. I think that the traditional media outlets do leave you feeling with a sense of hopelessness that you watch said news story and then there's no resolve. So I think that because empaths feel there's no action to be taken. So I
Exactly.
love that you have at the end of your segments or what you're showing this sense of, okay, here's a call to action. Here's what you can do. Here's what you can, share. Um, so tell us more about like the segments or the pieces that you like to feature, who or what you like to feature, and then again, what type of empath you are. I'm make sure we get that in there.
Yeah. Type of empath. I'm actually not sure if they're like what the specific types are. Um, I know that I discovered it around like high school time. I think it was my senior year of high school. I discovered that I was an empath without knowing it for a really long time. So I think I felt very overwhelmed for a really long time because I was kind of like a sponge, just taking on all these emotions and things that was happening around me. And it wasn't until I discovered what an empath was and finding people in that community that I was able to really shift that. And it's more of a gift now than something that is um, a hindrance to me. Um, and for the videos, something else you mentioned in the beginning is I think empaths are we're interested in so many different things, and for me that was a big reason why I waited to go to college too, because like I found myself wanting to just taste a little bit of everything. Like I find so many different topics interesting, and so that's the beautiful thing about building this platform is that anything that piques my interest or my curiosity, I will be able to delve into. So definitely, a lot of things about injustice. Something that I'm working on this summer is looking more into sex trafficking in Buffalo, New York. Um,
But that's everywhere. But
and
yeah, but that's good.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it is everywhere, sadly. But again, trying to put a light on it and bring people the tools to empower them to help change this. Um, and again, there will be lighthearted videos as well. I love traveling and I want to be able to share those experiences too. But really, anything that I think piques my curiosity and interest, I want to be able to delve into.
Yeah, hence I guess the curious rabbit who burrows down deep and likes to really get under a particular thing. And so I think that that's amazing that you want to highlight and bring to the awareness for people of sex trafficking. And I'm glad that you mentioned it. So here locally, um, I've worked with an organization called Sister Survivors by Alice J. So Alice J is on Facebook. She is out here, I mean, literally on the street rescuing girls and
Amazing.
transgender, yeah, and transgender individuals as well, which I think is also really important because we've seen a huge surge. I think awareness, I mean, I believe that it's always happened, but when people are kind of on the fringe, we don't hear about it
Right. Yeah,
until maybe certain
definitely.
numbers peak or someone breaks the story. So it's never that it's not happening.
Right.
We just don't necessarily know about it. So I would love to connect the two of you, and maybe you can connect, because she was sex trafficked from the time she was 15 to 22.
Wow.
Yeah. So she was sex trafficked from here, Michigan, all the way to Hawaii.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And in
Wow.
some cases, when she was arrested for prostitution, she was turned back to her pimp. And not really her sex trafficker, because, I think it's also important to make the distinction that sex trafficking is not prostitution. People are not willingly. So
Yeah.
I love that you're uncovering, what's happening in, Buffalo, New York. And I think if each person kind of delves into their local area to bring
Hmm.
things up to the light, I really do feel that empaths will make remarkable um, advocates in eradicating. And I know that's one
Absolutely.
subject, but I know that empaths would definitely champion, those who are, yes, she is, Alice is the best, champion that. And then I also have,
For
I don't know,
sure.
he's your friend, Shane. So Shane says, hi, I'm a
Okay, Shay.
claircognizant and clairsentient as far as empathic gifts go, intuitive feeler. So yes, Shane, that is amazing. So I'm also claircognizant, and I'm also clairsentient too.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
yeah, and I think it's so amazing as empaths too, like because sometimes I think people, especially when they're going through like tragedies like that, it can be hard for them to articulate the pain that they experience. And I think as empaths, because we are able to connect with that on such a deep level, we're able to be their voices. And again, going back to Curious Rabbit Media, I want to have this platform where people who don't have a place to use their voice can share that, or I can help them share their message because it's so needed. And I think a lot of times the mainstream media isn't putting the focus in the right places.
yeah, and I think it's important that you have a media company. Well, for several reasons, like you mentioned, that stories that you feel really passionate about are being highlighted, but also I think to show a different narrative, as well, because I think again we can feed something. So if you are feeding fear,
Hmm.
and
That's what's growing.
statistics, right, and the news said it was real, so you believe that it's a reality, but a
Yeah,
person like you is showing a different narrative, and it's like, this is also true.
exactly. It's so true. And I was just talking about this the other day where, the news really they want us to come back. They want the ratings, they want the views. Their goal isn't to empower people or to keep people informed. It's to get clicks on their pages and have viewers coming back. And they know that the way to do that is exploit people who are searching for something to be fearful about. It's
Yeah.
it's something that like it's just like an innate part of us sometimes to look for the enemy
Hmm.
just so we can like be protect ourselves and feel safe. So they very much prey on that.
Yeah.
Um, and again, that's something that needs to be shifted because, like you said, that's not the whole truth. I don't believe that they're sharing the whole truth. They're sharing what is going to get views and what they can sensationalize and make really dramatic and make people fearful about a certain person or a certain topic.
Or
And
certain groups, right? Because I mean, when
exactly,
we look at history, a lot of our atrocities, human atrocities, are based off propaganda,
yep,
pitting one group
that's
of
all it
people
is. That's
against
all it
another
is
group of people.
propaganda. Yeah,
You need someone to
yeah.
blame for
And
things
again,
not
it's a
going.
way I think for people to exactly. It's a way for people to feel safe because they can point the finger at an enemy and say, well,
Hmm.
it's their fault.
Hmm. Hmm. And then when we make it enough individuals, then it becomes a common enemy. If enough people point to another group of people, um, then they can become targeted, and that again feeds the beast, feeds the machine, and unfortunately, then we have genocides that happen because
Yeah,
of fear.
yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. But again, I think it's amazing that we have this tool now to empower people. And even like I was able to connect with you and with your sister through the internet, and that's like something that wasn't going to be able to happen without it. And it's such a great tool, and all of us have the power to use it in a positive way.
Mhm. Mhm. And I think it goes back to like our intentions, right? So you and I connected, my sister, all of us connected, and I think it's also like our vibration and frequency that we carry, and putting,
Hmm.
certain intentions out, and then there's this beauty that, kind of comes back to us as a result. So if you can share with our audience, how did you get the idea to even create a media company in the first place?
It started when I started seeing other independent journalists do it. Like Luke Radowski and Abby Martin come to mind, even the Free Thought Project, and discovering these pages or these companies and realizing that these were just people too that were that they were taking charge and creating this themselves. And I realized that I could do this too. There's no
Mhm.
reason why I couldn't also be creating this.
That's really empowering. So, shout out to, independent newsmakers. For sure on our timeline, Raquel, she has a show on Motor City Women, which is a podcast, but independent internet based radio station. So, there was a vision
Love
to
it.
be had, yeah, where women can amplify their voices. And so that helps to help women, amplify their voices. And I think that that's really empowering when you feel like you can take a stand and,
Hmm.
yeah, and create something out of a need.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I really encourage that for anybody if they feel that if there's something that is really pressed on their heart, that they have the tools and the capability of changing it and shifting it. It doesn't have to be something that stays that way just because that's the status quo.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, one of the things that I speak to with our visionary empaths, so shout out to all visionary empaths, in my program is we uncover how to unpack your gift and how to use it to create a viable and sustainable business. So obviously, a traditional job may not be the space for you. What do you feel, or what have you felt like have been the benefits, as you've gone, through um, the entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. It's still, I mean, it's definitely a journey. It's one that I'm still, I'm going to be on for a while, but I think that um, you know, I think freedom is so important for us. I know that you've talked about this before too, and for us to have the freedom to create what we're envisioning and create the reality that we want to be living. I mean, that's the ultimate empowerment. And um, again, with the internet, it's like we have so much at our fingertips now that can be used for good and to be used for our own freedom, where we don't have to, work a 9 to 5 and work under a corporation that doesn't resonate with us or really align with our beliefs. We're able now to create what we want to see and how we want to work. And I think that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And I think that, what you said in terms of like employers, I think for the empath, there's this correlation or disconnect between the values of an organization and the mission. Like, I think the empath can see like the nobility in the mission, but when we're
Right,
talking about corporate spaces, the bottom line is financial.
right. Yeah. And I think that's so true. And I think with empaths, it's like, of course, the financial is an aspect of it,
Absolutely.
but it's ultimately, yeah, but it's still ultimately we have this sense of mission in our hearts that we need to create. And again, as you've mentioned before, it's this wanting to really help humanity and help empower and awaken humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have to do that on in your own way and on your own terms
Yeah.
to do it to go full force and really create what you're envisioning.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Absolutely. And I think that's part of the beauty of empaths is that they do have vision. They can
Hmm.
see beyond. And I'm curious, so empaths who are on our line now, do you know your letters? So, like the Myers Briggs, many empaths will fall into um, an IN, an I of something, where there's very strong intuition. So they kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, so they kind of fall into like the diplomat, the hero, the, the person that kind of like champions things. It's very inquisitive, but also like, I don't want to say like do gooder, but kind of like, yeah, they want or they need. Okay, yep. So there's an ENTP. So
I
usually
believe I'm an ENFP.
you're an
So yeah, that
yeah, you're an yeah,
yeah, which I
yeah.
think the NF specifically, they have said that that is like that intuition and
Mm-hmm.
that sense to combine intuition and feeling, which
Yeah,
is so powerful.
yeah, yeah. So thank you, Shane. So if any other empaths, if you know your, uh, do you know your letters? If you know, if you know your letters, drop your letters. And if you don't know what we're talking about, you can go to 16personalitytypes.com. It's free, and
It's awesome.
it's so
Yeah.
awesome, and it adds so much clarity
Hmm.
around like who you are and your disposition and what you want to be. And so, Shane, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a rebel within you, um, because your letter type is slightly rebellious, um, artistic, expressive, um, needs to share, but also has a high need for freedom. So, there's an adventurous streak um, in there too. So I think that, as an empath, to also feel really empowered, knowing what your letters are is really
So
helpful.
true.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, have
I
you,
think I originally took that not long after I found out I was an empath,
uh huh.
and the Myers-Briggs really it helped me so much when I was in the process of self-discovery and really learning more about myself and
Mm-hmm.
just having that outline. Oh my gosh, it was so good for me because it
Isn't it
really was like,
illuminating?
oh, that's why I feel that way, and that's why, yeah, it's so I really suggest people to go take it. 16 personalities, go
Yep,
look it up.
16 personalities. Look it up and it will bring you so much clarity again about like who you are. And then if you need to make a pivot in your career, because I do feel like, how you're drawn to media, which in your empath um, framework, you want to connect. And what better way
Yeah,
to connect than through media? And you can connect with a lot of different types of people because I know that really excites you to be able
yeah.
to connect with different types of people. And I feel that empaths, I wouldn't be surprised if empaths are kinesthetic learners, where we have to
Mm,
learn by doing. So we have to
right.
embody
Yeah,
what it is. I mean, you can say it, that's fine. I can see it, that's okay. Hearing it, but I
yeah.
have to feel it for it to
Yeah,
become real to
that's so true. Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think really just diving into that too. I mean, that's why, like I said, this I've kind of been tiptoeing around it, but I'm ready to really dive into it now this summer, and
Yeah.
immerse myself into it. And yeah, I'm excited for what's to
We're
come with
excited
it.
for you. We would absolutely love to see, episodes, and you can definitely, in the feed, drop a link to your Facebook group, your page, so that we can
Awesome.
like it and we can share it and we can
Yeah,
love
come on this journey
it.
with me, guys.
Yeah. And, what better way? And then, to have fellow empaths, championing you, celebrating with you, taking the stories as far as we can take the stories, especially around human trafficking. I mean, that's a story that I don't feel
Yeah,
can get too much. That story cannot get too much attention. That story,
yeah,
is so much underrepresentation um, there that, in Buffalo, if we can maybe bring some girls and some transgender women home, that would be absolutely amazing. And it's not to say that it doesn't happen
yeah,
to cisgen men. It does, but the numbers are just so staggering with,
yeah.
yeah, with girls, particularly girls of color and transgender women.
Hmm. Yeah, very much again the marginalized people of society and the people that don't really have a platform to use their voice.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's why it's so important for empaths to really get into their gifts, to really get
Hmm.
into their intuition, because I definitely believe that there are ways that empaths can tap in that other people may not be able to do so because the way they feel.
Hmm. Yeah,
You can
I
locate
that's so
people.
true too.
Yeah, you can locate
Yeah, because I
people.
feel like there's so much that like there's things that I want to investigate into, and I think as you're mentioning, like being able to use our intuition and our feeling, it's even better for investigating because we can really see through the lies and see through the facade that whether it's a company or an individual are trying
Hmm.
to put up, it's like we see right through it to the core of that
Yeah,
person.
that's
And
right.
again, that's such a powerful gift that to use that to bring things that are in the shadows, that are in the dark
Mm,
to the light.
mm, mm. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just saying. So I think that, yeah, what you're on to and what you've discovered, within yourself and using your voice and using your talent, I think is really inspiring to other empaths. So how can
Thank you.
people, get in touch with you? I don't know if you've set up yet like a Patreon page where we can, give you donations, or if you're taking donations to help your media, tell us what we can do to support you.
Not yet. I do need to look into that more and do that. Currently, I'm mostly engaging on Facebook, so I'll leave a link in the comments below to like Curious Rabbit Media and stay tuned for all that's to come.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I mean, as you know, I can talk to you all evening, and I love that people, come in. We have cast of regulars that come in every week, so you can tune in every week at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time to Visionary Impact Night. Actually, Sarah is going to be our last guest of the season, so we'll be back um, in August with a brand new lineup of empaths and ways to connect. Um, you'd be surprised. I've had conversations with florists because definitely getting into the earth is definitely going to help, um, empaths again with the energy. And then there are the flora and fauna earth empaths who definitely find a connection there and advocacy, around protecting the earth, but also working in the earth. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, our next season, I'm just really excited about what's to come with that, and I'll be
Me
putting
too.
these. Yeah, thank you. So I'll definitely be putting our videos into syndication. But for all my empaths who are on the line here, please do us a solid. Tag a friend, bring them into this live video. If you're coming back for the replay, put the replay in it because Curious Rabbit Media is doing amazing, amazing work in the world. And many times, because empaths by nature are loners, when it comes to the work, we do need support. And empaths, believe it or not, get lonely. So we people, but we're very particular about our people that we bring into the inner circle, and for good reason,
Hmm.
but we still need our people. So please be supportive, be good stewards, be good people. Tag your empathic friends. Share this post and share our message. You can log on to Be Intentional with Ber-Henda Williams. I put in free information there. I put challenges in there, so I'll be doing a new one um, this summer on tips and things that you can do to help with, managing your energy and emotional vampires and a lot of other stuff that I get into the work and in workshops. But Sarah, if you could um, let us know again that Facebook page that we need to like.
Curious Rabbit Media, and I'm excited to have you on there too and interview you for
Yeah,
that.
looking
So yeah,
so.
just go like that page, please.
Yeah, so Curious Rabbit Media, you can check it out. Her information is on my wall. So if you are on this feed and just coming into us, please go on the wall. You can check her out. I put her full bio on my page so that you can check her out. But like I said, please tag a friend, share this information because what she's creating, wow, media for empaths. Who'd have thunk it?
Who would have thought?
Yeah. Because I mean, I think that there is media out there for us. I mean, there's like conscious thought, and I think that serves
Yeah,
its space. It's great, but it's kind of more woo woo. But I think like
right.
everyday news, so that we stay informed as to what's
Hmm.
going on in the world. So it's like we're in it, but not of it,
Absolutely.
and that
Yeah,
you're helping to manage the triggers that come along
yeah.
with being empathic, with empowering ways to do things. And I think that's really amazing. So yay you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I absolutely adored having you on. I want to continue to champion you, so let me know things that you have so I can be supportive. But this has been an amazing season of having empaths on. We will be back, like I said, in August, because as an empath, I also need to manage my energy. So there are more things that
Yes.
need to be created and done in the world. And I would just love to encourage you all to check some of our old episodes. We've had amazing guests on. And of course, Sarah is right up there with amazing guests that we've had to participate with us. So, um, yeah, thank you, Sarah,
Thank
so
you so
much.
much for having me on.
Yeah, and the amazing work that you're doing in the world with the Curious Rabbit Media. I'm really, sincerely, I really want to support you and hope that others support you as well, because this is important work you're doing.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So I will see you all very soon. I look forward to connecting with you. You can check out Be Intentional with Ber-Henda Williams. That's a group that I put a lot of content into to share tips. I'm going to be doing a training soon too on how to manage your energy as an empath. So make sure you're on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, please enjoy the rest of your evening, day, or night, wherever you are in the world. And make sure that you tag a fellow empath, um, on this feed, because we want to make sure that empaths feel that they are loved and know how special they are, because you are. All right. Have a great evening, Sarah. I'll connect with you very soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Absolutely.